Hey guys, and welcome back to another Culture the Boys discussion. I'm Pepe, and I'm joined by Nathan. And today we're going back to the Naruto side stories. Yep, that's right.
Yay.
Today we are talking about Naruto Sasuke's story, the Uchiha and the Heavenly Stardust. How you doing, Nate?
I'm good. The English name is cumbersome because, like in Japanese, it's just Sasuke Retsuden. That's it.
Oh, really? Wow! So they really decided to go for the like isekai kind of title by the sounds of it.
I don't know. It also sounds like almost like a JoJo title, doesn't it? Like the
Yeah.
Uchiha and the Heavenly Stardust. Like,
God, yeah, they're ticking all the JoJo boxes, that's for sure. God. But yes, if you guys have watched our previous video, we talked about another Naruto side story.
Konoha's story. There's Steam Ninja Scrolls.
Yeah, that was the one, and that was featuring Asuna and Kurenai's kid. But this is another one. This is focused on a character we already know in the series, or like we know pretty well. It's Sasuke, the emo himself, and yeah, this is so like with this one, Nathan. You know, like you said, the previous side story was a light novel before. Do you know if this is another one of those light novel adaptation?
It was. It was also a light novel which, because of the previous one's popularity and success, this one also gained some traction and got the same treatment. So has a manga adaptation that we're talking about. Um, from the looks of the Narutopedia, like the fandom or the fan wiki, it's also got an animation. So it probably got adapted as a Boruto episodes as well. And I actually really liked this. I thought it was quite good to see this sort of Sasuke detective
Yeah,
story in a
throughout the
way.
whole of Naruto, we've seen Sasuke trying to stir up trouble, or for the majority of it anyway, apart from like before, like, after he left the village. And it's like,
Well, I mean, even when he came back to the village, like, uh, like he helped, but Pepe's right. Like all we've ever seen Sasuke do is be an angsty emo, like following his own justice, but his own justice is like getting revenge for everyone by tearing down the village because he's like got to build it back up or some
yeah,
shit.
and as someone that hasn't seen much of Boruto, like I think I read about maybe like about 15 chapters of the manga, and I haven't seen the anime apart from
Okay.
episode one. I've seen the Boruto movie, but Sasuke is one of those characters that I know he was training Boruto, but I haven't seen much of him other than that. So this is kind of like oh no, this is a brand new Sasuke to me from what we're seeing, like a post-war Sasuke. And yeah, like you said, I did enjoy this. Um, I'm trying to debate whether I preferred the previous side story more, but we can get into that in a second. Did you want to give down a rundown of what actually goes down in this, Nathan?
Yeah, sure. So in this, Sasuke is looking for a cure to an illness. Naruto contracts some sort of weird illness, and it's starting to worry everybody because he's already the Hokage. But it turns out this might be an illness that the Sage of Six Paths had. So they do a bunch of research, and he travels off to the land of Radaku, some made up faraway land that is like been sealed off from the outside world. They got big old walls, and they've got basically like no idea what's happened outside. And he goes there in search of any information to do with the Sage of Six Paths, and he comes across some info from a antique shop owner that you might find something because the Sage of the Six Paths went to Tatar Observatory. Now, in the past, there was like this astronomer there called Tatar, and he helped the Sage of Six Paths. But now, in the modern day, it's a weird prison, and Sasuke decides to get himself in prison so he can go and
So
investigate.
what we've basically got here is JoJo Part 6, but with Naruto.
Yes, but also with a Part 3 style
Yes.
name because Stardust.
It's like we really did yeah, we really did hit the nail on the head with the whole JoJo theme going on. But yeah.
But yeah, so Sasuke basically goes there in search of information and finds a whole bigger mystery and uncovers this like massive conspiracy in this new land. And it all basically comes down to the warden, Zansel, is somehow reviving dinosaurs.
Again, kind of like JoJo Part 7 in some senses, if anyone has any idea of that.
It's really, really not helping the comparison considering I'm pretty sure the main dinosaur you see, Menno, is the
It,
same as
it looks
Diego's
like a raptor,
stand.
doesn't it? And then there's
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah. Um, Basically, it's like a whole detective story. It's Sasuke trying to sneak around and find stuff whilst being in prison, but also it's got those Naruto elements, but he can't use any of his ninjutsu there because Zanzo is he's got glass eyes. Spoiler. So he can't use his Sharingan or Rinnegan. Like he can't use any ocular genjutsu, and the dinosaur is just completely impervious to ninjutsu.
Whether like,
So,
because well, I've
s-
only read up to chapter 3 in this, so
oh, okay. I've
yeah,
read all of it
I'll
so far. So
I'll
like
give my
7 chapters.
reasons why I've only read up to that point. But yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I know
yeah,
why.
you
I
know exactly.
did.
But yeah, I haven't got an explanation as to why the dinosaur is impervious to genjutsu. But oh, okay, yeah, but from what I can just tell, in my head canon, it's just any dinosaurs just like aren't affected by ninjutsu at all. That's my head canon. It's just like it'd be hilarious if that is prehistoric creatures just aren't affected.
Well, because like I feel like it might just come down to something like that. Like, oh, because they're prehistoric lizards, because they call them like dragons, like ancient dragons,
Realistically,
but
we
like
know what they are.
let's face it, we all know they're really ancient birds, right? And it's weird because the spoilers to you as well, Pepe, for later chapters. He finds Zansor's like secret room, and it's just filled with rocks and chickens.
I'm
He
interesting,
then like Sasuke figures out that it's fossils,
right?
and it's sort of the chickens are because like the prevailing theory now is that oh we're wrong, that dinosaurs weren't big lizards, they're
Yeah.
actually ancient birds
Hmm.
and were more feathers than scales. So like it's weird because it kind of plays into every prevailing theory at the time, like oh they were big lizards and they were ancient dragons, but actually they're chickens, so they're ancient birds. And
Yeah.
it messes with all like evolutionary theory. It like throws it all in there and it's like, yeah, but you know, ninjas. So
Interesting. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, I've only seen up to a certain point, as I mentioned before. For anyone that tries to read this, you know what I'm like when it comes to these review things. I'm always like, oh, I'll start with one. We might only need to watch the one episode or read one chapter or wherever it needs to be, and then like I usually just carry on. Nathan might just draw the line at one. Um,
yeah, it depends on
it
what it
depends. It
is.
is very much dependent. And this time, like I would have gone further. I did actually try to go further, and then it for some reason the Suecia Plus manga app only like it. Well, it has 6 chapters on there, but it cuts out, so they lose chapters 4 and 5, from what I know. And
And chapter 6 part 1,
oh yeah, so it just complete
because
yeah.
it's chapter 6 part 2,
So I've missed that
7
as
part
well.
1 and 7 part
Yeah, so
2.
I've completely missed that. So basically, when I was reading, I finished reading chapter 3, and then I was like, okay, go to the next one. I didn't clock because like usually like with the app, it fills in the gaps and gives you the one-time read ticket. So I was like, okay, cool. Like this is
Yep.
what it usually does. And then went on there, and I was like, it's kind of skipped forward a little bit. I don't know what happened because like the last chapter I read, at the end of chapter 3 is like, oh, we've got to talk to the librarian and get this or whatever. Like talk
Yep.
to him. And then I started reading. It's like, did they forget about the librarian? What's going on here? And then they're like, oh, we have the cards. And I was like, wait, were you not supposed to get the cards from the librarian? What happened there? And I was like, for fuck's sake, it's just skipped a bunch of chapters. And I'm just
Yeah.
randomly in chapter 6 right now. So
So
yeah,
I will take that as into a tangent run.
yeah.
I had to use alternative means to read the in between chapters, which sucks because this is quite an interesting story. It's different for the Naruto universe. Why the fuck is Shueisha putting on their app due to licensing issues? You're the license holder. You are the publisher. You control this shit. What do you mean licensing issue?
uh,
You're the ones who do this, and you can't. You have one job, literally one job,
yeah, it
and you
is.
fucked it
I don't
somehow.
understand
Like,
why.
don't give me that shit.
Yeah, it's a very strange scenario going on. It's like this. I've never actually had this problem with the Suecia Plus app before. Usually they're
I have a
really
couple of times.
okay. Fair. Like I don't know. It depends on what you're reading, I guess. But maybe it's because it isn't like weekly jump. Maybe that is a thing. But even so, it is. It feels like a very random problem that they have. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna get too ragey about it because it is like a free app at the end of the day. We're reading free manga and they like I'm just like, okay, cool. It's a legal way of doing it. Like look back about 10, 20 years ago, you wouldn't be able to get this shit. So I'm just like, okay, cool, I'm gonna let this slide. This is a manga as well that I'm glad that it isn't week to week, or I wasn't too in well, I did enjoy it, don't get me wrong, but this isn't something that I've picked up I'll be picking up long term. I think I enjoyed reading it for this episode, but would I read more of it? I'm not. It hasn't exactly gripped me too much. Sasuke is one of those characters that I have kind of liked before, but he's never been a favorite of mine. He drove the story
Okay.
in Naruto, and that was his purpose. But right now, it is literally like we said, it's a side story about Sasuke, a character that I'm yeah, he's alright, he's there. Yeah, I just don't know. I what I'm trying to say is I think I preferred the previous side story more, if I'm gonna be honest.
In that sense, I can't compare the two. I feel like they're very different.
I like this is the one thing in it because the other one is very light-hearted. It's very much a chapter of the week kind of thing. This is a scenario we're going through this chapter, and it's like maybe span across two. But this one is very much there's a set goal here with Sasuke in the prison. He's trying to find a certain thing to help Naruto. So it has like a
I
very
think I enjoy this more. Like, I personally would actually keep up with this, and I will try to keep up with
mhm.
this until it's finished. Because probably because I read those in between chapters, like 4, 5, 6, part one.
Yeah, that probably did help, to be honest. I think that probably did help.
Honestly, like, what I like about it is that it's almost like the Vegeta, that character progression. Like, was an antagonist, has grown and matured, and is more likable as a person, more relatable. Because Sasuke now is like this mysterious background character, and in this story, you get to sort of see more of how his brain works and how like he sees things. And it's also actually nice to see spoilers because Sakura's in this.
Yeah.
She's the prison doctor, and the two of them are working together, and they have these nice little moments that you would never expect from Sasuke. There's quite a few little bits where like you do get reminded, like, oh yeah, they are married in this by this point. Like, they've had their kid, and like they're actually a married couple who don't get to see each other a whole lot because he's always off on missions. And those missions, even in the manga, they say like sometimes he's gone for years on end
Mm.
and then he comes back.
Yeah.
And he's like in one chapter, I think it's 7 part 2 or something, or 7 part 1. It's in chapter 7 somewhere. And like him and Sakura just have like this one little quiet moment where he's like, sometimes I do come home and I feel strange. I don't know how to feel because Sarada's grown up some more and you've changed your hairstyle or something and things are all different and I should have been there, but I haven't been there." And it's like, it's just weird because you're like, I don't ever think Sasuke would say that, but that's because I keep thinking of like Naruto Sasuke, not this new Sasuke. Because the old Sasuke would have just been like, "Ah, fuck off."
Like, yeah, I don't need this. This is an inconvenience to me.
Yeah.
I can tell you the exact chapter that is, Nathan, because that's chapter 6, part 2, because I started reading that
Oh, right.
bit. Because I know the exact point you're talking about. So this kind of does, I can actually talk about this a little bit. Because I got this far, and then that's when they started talking about stuff. And I was like, wait, this has gone way too far. I think it got to a certain point in the chapter where I clocked. But yeah, you're right. It is nice to see that softer side of Sasuke, and especially one that's towards Sakura as well. Because when you read Naruto, like, or if you finished it, you'd be like, oh, look, there's the pairing of Hinata and
Yeah,
Naruto. That one kind of makes sense. Here's the other pairings that you have, like Shikamaru and Tamari. Ah, that makes
yeah.
sense. And then you have Sasuke and Sakura, and you're like, wait, hold on a second. Wasn't one of the last things Sasuke said to Sakura was like, "I hate you," and then you're like, wait, why is this suddenly come to light? Why is this suddenly here? But it does like actually show you where that relationship actually has its pros, like pros there. So um yeah, I'm not gonna hate. As I said, I'm not gonna hate on this too much. As this manga, I actually think it was very good. And it is nice to see that. It's nice to see the softer side of Sasuke. It's nice to see Sasuke and Sakura's relationship. It's good to see him like being like he wants to be more of a dad to Sarada, but obviously his job's getting in the way.
Yeah.
You also see the fact that like this is like him looking out for Naruto as well. Because the first few pages are Naruto saying, "No, don't go. Like, you're not gonna do this, are
Yeah,
you?" And then
I'm telling you not to go, stay,
yeah,
like, it's fine, and he's like, just ignored
yeah,
him.
just like just went off. So like it shows that there has been a massive development in Sasuke's character. Obviously, if it didn't at this point, I'd be like, wait, hold on a second, he's just a dickhead, but he's just an adult now. But no, you're right. It does show a lot of development for Sasuke. And yeah.
Well, it's also it even though it's a Sasuke story,
Mhm.
it's actually quite nice to see Sakura do something
Yes.
because she's basically was just the girl and then was the medical ninja who was the girl and then the housewife.
Yeah.
But like it's just nice to sort of because like she's never been the most popular character. Most people don't like Sakura, right? But in this, she's helping him out. She's also gathering intel. She's showing she's quite smart and she's got all these skills that like as fans of Naruto you sort of never ever saw. Like for example, in the chapters you couldn't read,
Mhm.
there you mentioned that card game. Well, Sakura bets the librarian Penzilla, one of Sasuke's cellmates, who's a big gambler. She actually goes and gambles against him, and she's never heard of this card game. They hand her a sheet of paper that's like, "Oh, these are all the best hands." She looks at it and basically says to him, "Cool, let's go." And he's like, "Yo, Doc, this is your first time. Shouldn't you keep that paper up?" And she's like, "No, I memorized it."
Mm.
And
Okay.
then it turns out like through training with Tsunade and doing certain things, she didn't memorize the hands. She did something even more complicated. She memorized the small details on the back of every card, so she knew which card was what.
Ah, okay. So she basically just like counted cards, basically, in some sort of sense.
Kind
She
of,
she
but like
cheated, but it
in
works. It works.
yeah, instead of counting cards, she literally says, "I memorized the back of
Yeah.
every card. These cards were so old
Yeah.
that each one has its own strange like cuts and nicks and
Yeah. Yeah.
peculiarities." And I'm like, that is way more complicated than just memorizing the hands.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, even when you do look at like early days Naruto, Sakura was like top of the class, right? As well in terms of grades.
Yeah, she was smart,
Yeah.
but like, when you're like, oh yeah, that's like book smart, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's
Like,
like when you're looking at a series like Naruto, you want that kind like and realistically Sakura doesn't have any like strong traits apart from when she gets into Shippuden. Yeah, I
yeah.
think
After she's done that
yeah,
training, that's when she becomes a little more
like
like noticeable and
yeah,
likable as a character,
yeah.
but like she's still just like the girl.
Mhm. Yeah,
That's kind of
there's a
it.
lot of things. Yeah, obviously, the whole focus is around Naruto and Sasuke in that series. And yeah, you're right. It is good to see Sakura do actually do something like in this, like in general. Like she does get better as the series goes on. It is worth saying. I think Sakura does get a lot of hate, but Some of it is like kind of, oh yeah, it's just a meme hate at the end of the day, especially when you look at the later chapters of Naruto. You can understand it early days. You can really understand it.
Yeah, early days it was justifiable because
Yeah.
she was just the annoying like character
Yeah.
that's like, I just love Sasuke and that's it. I don't give a shit about anything else. I'm smarter than the rest, and I want to marry Sasuke. That's it. And it was like, okay, cool. You're a nothing character, but yeah, they do drop like Kakashi's name in this as well
Yes, they
because he's
do.
also like gone to this new land, but he's like somewhere else doing some investigation.
Yeah, he's also trying to look into stuff for Naruto, from what I can guess. Like,
Yeah, it turns out him and Sasuke are like doing the same mission, but because of something that Kakashi found out, their like Sasuke's mission changes slightly, but it turns out everything's all interconnected because all the players of both missions are like working together.
yeah, it's interesting about the whole Kakashi thing though, because obviously in the other side story we had, um, I can't remember her name. Sorry, from the previous side story.
What, Mirai?
Mirai, that's the one. Yeah, we had Mirai. Like the whole story of that side story is that Mirai is accompanying Kakashi and Guy to to the thing. Meanwhile, Kakashi's just on a mission by himself in this one, just doing bits. You don't need no company in it, so it's just like, like at what level is Kakashi at these days? Is he like,
Well,
yeah,
I'd assume this Sasuke story takes place before the Mirai story.
yeah,
So Kakashi is probably only given up his seat as Hokage like a little while ago.
yeah?
Whereas like in the Mirai story, like
I
where
think
it
this is
is
more
in the modern
recent.
day for Mirai,
Yeah.
it's like yeah, it's more recent and like
Okay. Yeah.
Kakashi is like much older.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
So it's like it's weird that these side stories like just jump around in the timeline, but also sort of fill in the
Even if they
gaps.
did give me a timeline of where this actually ended up after the whole like Great Ninja War, lol. I mean, let's face it, I'm not far wrong with it, right? It is the Great Naruto War.
Yeah, true.
Um, yeah. Even if they did give me dates on this and like where it's sat in the Boruto universe, I'd probably be like, oh, okay, yeah. There's only so much of Boruto that I read, so
Yeah, I guess final thoughts, Peps.
I I feel like I said what I've had to say with this one because again, like it is a great series and it is really good. Um, it's just me personally, I didn't feel like I needed to carry on past chapter 3. Like, it just didn't grip me as
Fair.
much, but that is also down to the fact that I couldn't read it. So, I like take that as you will. So I think if it was available to me, I actually probably would have carried on because obviously I did try. I went on to fucking chapter 6 part 2. But like I wasn't like I didn't feel the need to go out the way like Nathan did. So I feel, yeah, I think it's still decent. I probably would have continued reading it. But yeah, alas, this is where we are, and that probably speaks volumes in itself. The fact that I couldn't be bothered to go find it. But yeah, what about you?
I would recommend this if you are interested in the character of Sasuke or where he is now, or if you're just interested in seeing like a sort of Naruto style like spy detective thing. I
Mhm.
think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It definitely has those light novel vibes, but not in a like tiresome like tropey
Mm.
way.
I will say that these two side stories that we have read back to back on these episodes, they are really good, and they do give you the sense of, oh, these are short stories. Like you can see these running for like maybe a volume or two, but they are both really good. They do hold up, and at the end of the day, so I've enjoyed both of them. I have enjoyed both of them. They're good. I hope they do more.
Yeah,
I'd
same.
like to see what other ones because I remember like the light novels they've sold them here in the UK as well. Um, and I haven't seen the Seven Scrolls one, but I have seen the Sasuke one. There's a Shikamaru one, the Kakashi one, and I think there's a Sakura's one as well. Pretty sure there's an Itachi one somewhere. Um,
Yo, I hope the other ones get manga adaptations because I'd quite like to read those.
I'm actually more inclined to read these than I am Boruto. So yeah, I,
I mean, I also read Boruto, and Boruto is getting pretty interesting.
oh, are you actually up to date on Boruto?
I think I'm maybe a chapter or two behind, but I'm pretty much up to date. Like I've been enjoying it,
No,
but
fair.
I've been saying that to you from the start when most people were like,
Yes.
Boruto's a bit like meh," and I enjoy it.
No, fair. Fair, bro.
But before we roll the outro, well, I don't know why I said it like we pre-record the outro, but I do want to ask. We did receive a comment previously on one of our videos and one of our episodes that asked us to start a Discord server. Now, me and Pepe have talked about it after that, but I just want to know out there, anyone who wants to let us know, is that something you want? Because we can do it, but we're not gonna do it if nobody wants it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like enough people want it, we'll do it. But I kind of just want to get a gauge of how many
Yeah,
people.
because it's so
So
it's
let us know down
it's
below.
so hard to tell with this because obviously we are like we're a very small channel and we do get comments few and far between. It's lovely to hear that, but like is it's like you said, like is it something that anyone wants? But yeah, let us know in the comments. That'd be great to
Yeah,
hear.
like let us know down below on everything. Like the YouTube in the comments, Spotify on. I'll add a poll or a thing there.
Mhm.
So like on if you wherever you can find a way, tweet at us as well. We do push our Twitter. I don't think that many people actually follow us there, but like you know, like find us wherever you can find us and let us know. Because I am actually like seriously interested to know about who wants a Discord server or like some other way to contact or let us know things. Because it seems like we there might actually be people out there who want to send us messages and stuff and talk to us. I'd be interested. I'm not gonna say I'm not.
Yeah.
So yeah, wherever you can find us, please let us know.
Mhm. Well, on that note, yeah, like Nathan said, he's put all the links in the description. We're on Twitter. There's not much else to say apart from that, really. That's like you've pretty much done the intro right there. In which case, thank you for listening, guys, and we will see you for another episode of Cultured Boys. Bye bye.
Bye.